Okay, this is a good question because I don't know if it's ever going to happen again, and I don't know what state you live in, but obviously it's one of those that have recently gone on strike or is threatened to go on strike. Okay. Now, you'd requested a meeting, and it really doesn't matter if there is no provision within special education law on the federal level and the state level what happens during times when teachers go on strike, and it doesn't absolve the schools at all. So special education continues regardless of whether they go on strike or not. Your child has an IEP. FAPE is a mandate. They have to continue to provide your child a FAPE. Now, if the strike is short enough, then the ability for them to make up ground and not have it tip into a substantive violation, meaning that it's caused damage to your child's program, yeah. But the longer the strike moves on in the school year, then the higher the chances are that there's going to be some major procedural violations, meaning that they don't meet your timeline. They don't, and because they didn't meet the timeline to hold a meeting, and let's say the meeting was intended to increase your child's occupational services, and they didn't do that, and therefore your child ended up missing, let's say, 6 sessions of OT that he would have gotten or she would have gotten had they done that. I don't know if your son, okay. Then at that point, you would go back and they would, that's where the damage, see, they should have agreed to these services here. They didn't until here. He missed, 5 or 6 sessions in between here. See, at that point you'd be justified because there's been an agreement by the team that your child requires these services, and they weren't available because of something that was outside of your control and something that the law doesn't care about. They have a duty, they didn't do it. Therefore, they need to provide remedial or compensatory services for what your child missed, okay? But like I said, the longer these things are protracted as far as the strike, then the more opportunity a school has to really screw up on the procedure. Not having a meeting when they should have a meeting, not having the right people at the meeting that need to be there, and as a result, not changing the IEP, the substance of the IEP, like needs to happen. And if that's the case, damage occurs to the child's program. But let's say that it's not about a meeting, just the provisions of your child's services. And let's say that a protracted strike then causes your child to regress behaviorally or academically or communicatively or with functional skills, and that regression has now caused a denial of FAPE. Well, that means that in the school, once everybody's back and the strike is over, your child would be entitled to remedial or compensatory services because of that denial of FAPE. And that's just how this works. All right? But like I said, everything sort of depends on how long the strike is. And then you would have to quantify how it's affected your son. And that's called the substance of your child's program. And if there's been damage, and you can quantify that damage educationally, then at that point, you are entitled to the compensatory or remedial services.